Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store, affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo, this is $3 Theater, and today is October 9th, 2017. And this is a movie show. We talk about movies here. I didn't do an episode last week. I tried my hand at a couple of little, individual videos, but I found myself not enjoying it as much, surprisingly. And as well as the audience prefers the longer form content. So I feel that's definitely something worth maintaining. That being said, lots to go around. Blade Runner 2049 came out this weekend, and everyone's like, it's a flop at $32.5 million. They were estimating between 45 and 50 million, and it failed to connect. But you want to know what really failed to connect? My Little Pony. My Little Pony's first movie came out and only earned 8.8 million. I find that very hard to believe that happened. Simply because My Little Pony has a huge, very devoted fandom. And they have for many years. And yet they only managed to muster up 8.8 million. So take that for whatever you will, but damn. And to everyone else out there, I just gotta say this. Everyone else out there trying to say Blade Runner flopped. No, it didn't. It's still #1 of the box office. Yes, it came in underneath expectations and projections, but I have a feeling this movie is going to have legs. It is phenomenal. At this point, it is the best movie I have seen all year, and I cannot wait to see it again, to see all the little things that I missed, because this was a movie that was treated with love and care that sequels deserve but rarely ever get. And so if you're on the fence about whether or not to go see this movie, go see it. Even if it's like Tuesday and it's discount movie day, go see it. Support this kind of content in theaters so we don't get Transformers 2058 coming in the next 10 years. You know what I mean? Anyway, going over to the first story today, because I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Tonight is Monday, which means that Monday Night Football is today. And as a result, Disney has decided to bestow upon us the new trailer for Star Wars The Last Jedi. I don't know if this is going to be a full-fledged trailer. I don't know if this is going to be a teaser leading into something bigger we see at the end of the week. But all intents and purposes are basically trying to say that this is a whole new trailer. Now, everyone is pretty much excited for this. More Star Wars footage. They're getting ready to just, get primed and ready to go to watch it, except one person. And that's the director, Rian Johnson, who actually tweeted out, I am legitimately torn. If you want to come in clean, absolutely avoid it. But it's good. What that tells me is that this is going to be a relatively story-heavy trailer. The first one, if you want to call it a full trailer, I still call it a teaser, from back in April, essentially showcases the idea of what we're going to see, the iconography of Star Wars, showing us little bits here and there. This is probably going to be the first full-fledged story trailer. I am very much going to have to stop myself from watching it. I probably will end up watching it. I don't know if I'm going to do a reaction video to it or I'm going to do a video talking about it. I tend to not like those kind of things. I don't really know. They usually tend to get slammed by freaking content ID on this platform anyway. But the point is, I'm probably gonna watch it. I'm gearing up to watch Star Wars Rebels again, so I can get ready for season 4 next week. So yeah, I'm in full on Star Wars mode now. The Battlefront 2 beta was this last weekend. It was a blast. Oh man, but part of me wants to go in. Part of me wants to go in clean, go in and just enjoy it and not have it be ruined. But if it's anything like The Force Awakens, people are gonna ruin it. So I might as well at least ruin it for myself. At least that way I have control. But that's me. You could feel entirely differently. All right, jumping over into news that's a couple days old, but I didn't talk about it, and I wanted to talk about it because I wanted to gush about it. 20th Century Fox ordered up Bob's Burgers, the movie, for July 17th, 2020. That's insane to me. All right, like we're getting a Bob's Burgers movie, right? I mean, people were legitimately excited for this. I'm legitimately excited for this, but I'm also cautious. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a big Bob's Burgers fan. I have seen the seasons. I remember going to the very first panel at Comic-Con for Bob's Burgers when they showed off the first 11 minutes of the first episode, gave us a t-shirt that I've still got in something around here because I don't throw away any of those kind of keepsake t-shirts that I get. And it was good, and I enjoy watching it. I enjoyed that the show has evolved over the years. I'm also wondering if it's able to maintain itself in a 90-minute runtime. Although, let's be realistic, it's probably going to come in somewhere around 81 minutes, including end credits. This is what the Simpsons movie did. The Simpsons movie was not a full hour and a half because the story probably doesn't allow them to go that far. Bob's Burgers has the ability of telling us a good story throughout, the course of time, but the runtime of a film, I should say. But one of the biggest problems is everything they do is so condensed. They haven't really done 2 parts or 3-parters in order to see if they could tell a narrative that stretches across those episodes. And that is something that they're going to have to really work on. Granted, we have 2.5 years and then some until this thing comes out, which gives them plenty of time to come up with a good script, plenty of time to come up with a good story, and get it all out there on the big screen. But I also always kind of harken back to The Simpsons when I think about this. The Simpsons movie premiered July 2007. They had over 160 drafts of the script, and the movie was still divisive amongst fans, because something as iconic as The Simpsons is hard to translate to the big screen. South Park did it really well with Bigger, Longer, and Uncut back in 1999, but even then, the show was only like 2-3 years old, so it was still in its infancy, and they were able to then play off of what they'd already built. Whereas The Simpsons, coming out in 2007, man, that was well over 25 years from when the show premiered. Bob's Burgers opening up in 2020 is what, they're in season 8 right now? So they're going to be in season 10 or 11 by that time? Or at least going between season 10 and season 11. Makes me also wonder if they're going to tie it into the overall narrative of the show and who they're going to focus on. If you want my honest opinion about Bob's Burgers, the movie, it's really going to boil down to Tina and Louise and Glenn. And the kids parts of the show are generally the best parts of the show. I think we all can agree. As much as I love Bob and I love Linda, they're inconsequential, right? They're going to clearly have the A story and the B story going through, but it's going to focus predominantly on the children, because those are, at this point in time, the better episodes. It'd be like if South Park at this point came out with a new movie, I'd rather have it be focused on Randy Marsh, simply because Randy is where Trey and Matt are currently at in terms of their own life perspective, whereas the kids on Bob's Burgers are the ones that have taken over because of their pranks, of their youthfulness, of how much fun they have, and basically how much of a terror Louise is. So I'm going to assume the movie's probably going to be like this. They're going to probably take a family vacation somewhere. Maybe Bob's going to go to some kind of burger cook-off somewhere. Louise and the other two are going to get themselves in a bit of a pickle. Tina's going to talk about butts quite a bit. And then it's going to be lots of jokes and celebrity guest cameos all around, which is fine with me. I really hope they're able to bring the story together, and that's the only trepidation I have. Otherwise, come July 16th, 2020, I will be there at the midnight show or the early show, because I do like to support things that I love, and I do very much love Bob's Burgers. Alright, so jumping over into Halloween news, because this is something I'm going to be covering up until I see the damn thing, October 2018. We have a year. I'm excited. This news, though, kind of makes me a little bit cautious, but not utterly like, the sky is falling, because we've already gone through that narrative in terms of Halloween movies over the years. So a couple weeks ago it was announced that Danny McBride and David Gordon Green got John Carpenter on board to produce and possibly score the new Halloween movie. Now, we also learned that this movie basically takes place, after Halloween 2. At least that was the original saying of it, and it was going to disregard anything other than the films John Carpenter himself made. Now we're learning that that's not even true, and that it's actually going to disregard Halloween 2 as well, even though Halloween 2 picks up mere hours after the events of Halloween 1. And the reason for this is even Danny McBride is not a huge fan of the fact that they said Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister, which was the big reveal of Halloween 2. And so they're going to basically just disregard Halloween 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the Rob Zombie ones, and of course Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which nobody ever really likes to talk about, but we all know it exists. It's never going to go away. But I'm a little bit concerned about this, because I always felt like that particular reveal added weight to Laurie's story, right? Why is Michael targeting her specifically? Family ties, essentially, right? Like, it's something that's familiar. He wants his sister back. It gives him motivation. It might be kind of lame motivation, but it still explains why he's going back home. It explains why he's still tracking her down. And that, to me, always worked as an element. It's one of those things we've seen. It's a trope we've seen multiple times in different horror stories, but it all kind of goes back to Halloween, and to change the mythos from this particular perspective is a bit irksome to me. We know that Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back, but we're not giving her a final story that's connected to the first two films. We're not giving her a final story that ties into Michael being her, being her brother, her older brother, who is on, the warpath to kill her, bring her back. I mean, we don't quite know, but they could explore those themes and definitely give us that conclusion to her story that is not spread out over the course of numerous other films. So that's a bit of a problem that I have, and I do understand why, they're doing this, but it can go either way at this point. Again, in Danny McBride and David Gordon Green, I trust and I expect them to present us with a story that is going to be very much a sequel to the original. However, the reason why Halloween 2 worked was because it picked up, so it was like hours later in the hospital, showing that this is an unstoppable killing machine that will never waver in his mission to, get his sister. So it kind of brought that terror around again. And if they, I don't know, if they break that up, then it's just going to be, oh yeah, we killed him 35 years ago, or over 40 years ago, whatever, almost now it feels like. So now he's back. I mean, I just feel at this particular point in time, what we're going to get out of this is a copycat. Well, I have a feeling with this, with this change, we're not going to be getting a Michael Myers. We're going to be getting someone who wants to be Michael Myers. We're going to be getting Scream 2 over Scream 1, if you know what I mean. And I really hope it doesn't go that path. I really hope it doesn't go some cheap, stupid path, just trying to be different. But then again, Jason Blum is producing this as well. Blumhouse Productions has done a great job in revitalizing horror, and the fact that they've been able to basically make it very profitable again. And so I have to be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, even if I don't necessarily like this particular choice of direction. All right, so jumping over into, oh dear God, will somebody at Fox please take the keys of Alien away from Ridley Scott news? In an interview with Empire, Ridley Scott decided to open up a little bit more about what to expect from Alien Covenant, sequel, prequel, whatever you want to call it. We literally have no idea. Alien Awakening now? I don't know. It just should drop the title of Alien, because at this point he's going in an entirely different direction, as you've probably guessed from reading the title card on this particular segment. So in the interview, this is what he says. He says, I think the evolution of the alien himself is nearly over, but what I was trying to do was transcend and move to another story, which would be taken over by AI. The world that the AI might create as a leader if he finds himself on a new planet. We have actually quite a big layout for the next one. Okay, Ridley, I'm just gonna come out and say it, man. I'm gonna be perfectly bluntly honest here, because I feel I have to. No one cares. No one cares. The David story is interesting. Covenant was David's story, all right? Prometheus was ultimately David's story, just kind of wrapped around women characters that end up being, used by him in the end. So whichever strong female character you get to star in Alien Awakening, or whatever you're going to call it, is ultimately going to be used by David, because this is a continuation of David's story as we saw at the end of Covenant. And it's one of those things where it's like, I get what you're trying to do. You're gonna take the souls on board of the Covenant, and you're gonna go to that planet, and you're going to experiment there and try to lead this civilization, maybe as some godlike figure or whatever. And that's I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't think anyone out there at this point wants it. Yes, the concept of the Xenomorph and the alien, they're cool, man. Like the idea of it being like a slasher in space with a creature feature, thrown in there is definitely, no, it's a creature feature / slasher somewhat, in space is cool, and people like that concept. But when you get to this point, when you start trying to transcend and move over into something else that nobody asked for, that becomes a problem. What fans want, and I'm being perfectly honest here, what fans want is no more Prometheus, okay, and that story, and David's story, Covenant we already know. Move past Alien, which you'll never be able to recreate at this point in time, and go to Aliens. People want James Cameron's take on it. They want there to be another more action-oriented sequel, not have it just be another kind of science fiction drama / horror. Alien Covenant was not a horrible movie, but it had its head so far up its own ass for what it wanted to be. And that's one of the reasons why audiences didn't react to it very well. Now, in China, they did, but that was also like 70% of the Xenomorph was cut out, and they were left with all the talking of characters you can't even remember right now. Right? You can't even, and people watch this at home right now probably go like, I know David, I know Walter, the rest of the Tennessee, Danny McBride's character. Okay, cool. You know, but you don't remember any of the characters' names because we never got the opportunity outside of 2 or 3 of them to ever get to know them. They were just cannon fodder for the Neomorph and the Xenomorph, and that was it. And if you're going to be doing that with the 2,000 plus people in cryosleep that are currently on the Covenant heading towards that planet, then people still aren't going to care because there's nothing there worth grabbing onto. There's no characters you necessarily care about, which is why, and I say this, 20th Century Fox should definitely, most definitely, take the keys back from Ridley Scott, call up Neil Blomkamp and go, we'll get you the best screenwriter on the market, we'll take your idea, we'll write a good script around your idea, because, let's face it, Neil Blomkamp needs a good script. We'll get you Sigourney Weaver, we'll get you Michael Biehn, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be on board at this point, given how much Sigourney Weaver's been working with Blomkamp over there at Oat Studio in the short films. By the way, those are awesome, you should see them. Clearly, you know, they should make this happen. That's what they should do. But they won't, because no one at 20th Century Fox has the cojones to stand up to Ridley Scott to tell him, no, stop it. Audiences are tired of your crap. One of the reasons why Blade Runner 2049 worked so well was because Ridley Scott was not at the helm. Don't get me wrong. He is a fantastic director. And yes, we still get movies like The Martian from him that are amazing. But for every The Martian, we get more like Prometheus or like the what was it, The Counselor, or whatever else he makes as just kind of you know. And I get that he always wants to work, but it's time these particular tales go to someone who is more equipped to tell them. All right, guys. Finally tonight, we're going to be talking about Wild Stallions. Okay, I didn't do that. You guys didn't see that, but no. Bill and Ted 3. All right, so at New York Comic Con this week, Keanu Reeves was there promoting his new film Replicas, and of course, the question came up. And it wasn't like he just said, oh, we're still working on it, oh, you know, it's in development, which tends to be a lot of the kind of brush-aside answers you get at these Comic-Con Q&As. By the way, just as a side thing, I hate the Q&A section. But this was actually an answer. We got an answer. We even basically got a title for the film. Bill and Ted 3, Face the Music. Which is interesting because when he explains what it ties into, it makes all of a sudden all the sense in the damn world. And this is what he said. It's a cautionary tale. They're supposed to save the world, but when we see them, they haven't saved the world, and they're married and they have kids, and they're playing to nobody. But they have to write the song and face the music. Hopefully we'll make it before I'm 60. Now the song he's talking about is the song that Rufus told them that they made back in the first film that basically like united the world, saved the day. But what exactly is the song? Well, Keanu actually extrapolates a little bit on that too. The future comes back and says if you don't write the song by this certain time, the universe is going to unravel, and history and everything is going to change, and the dinosaurs are going to walk the earth. Jesus is playing baseball. All sorts of weird things start unraveling, and wormholes are twisting. We have to kind of bring order back, and it's connected into bringing our families together by writing a song. He goes on to say, I mean, it's edgy. There's a great scene where Bill and Ted are in jail and we're seeing our future us's and they're all tatted and hard and they're like tough sounding. What's up, dude? Hey, guy, stop calling me dude. And they want to beat up Bill and Ted because they've inherited the life that they fucked up. They're miserable and they hate Bill and Ted. That's some funny stuff. Okay, so I read that horribly, I admit. I can kind of picture it in Keanu's mindset, and I get what he's going for here. It's seeing a future version of themselves or an alternate timeline version of themselves of what could possibly happen and why those guys might be mad at them and trying to beat them up. Makes me wonder if that version of Bill and Ted are going to be the antagonists that are trying to stop them from writing the song before the end date happens. Because even though that end date is, you know, going to be approaching and it's going to have, you know, clearly the end of the world assigned to it, there still has to be an antagonist that's going to be trying to stop them from completing their mission. And it's probably going to be this version of Bill and Ted, similar to the robot version from the sequel, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, that were trying to basically act as them. So there's that. Now, When I think about Bill and Ted, I think back to the first movie. I remember seeing the movie back in the 80s at a double feature in Portland, Oregon with my cousins. I played with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, still to this day one of my favorite double features of all time. And it's just a fun movie. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is not as good, but still good. And I've been waiting for them to kind of complete the trilogy, complete the story. And at this point, they might do it. Now, Keanu Reeves has found himself in a position where he has newfound fame. This, of course, coming after the absolutely amazing John Wick series, and he'll probably use that as a way to definitely come back and make this movie. I do hope that they're able to get Stephen Herrick back on to direct it, because, you know, he did the first one. I don't remember if he did the second one or not, but the first one was amazing for its time. It's just a shame that George Carlin is dead, did not come back and help finish the story. And I hope they don't try to do some kind of, you know, black magic CGI in order to bring him back, similar to what they've done in, you know, other movies, or de-aging people. And I'm pretty sure that technology will actually be used to de-age Bill and Ted a little bit in order to in order to kind of play up that particular angle of, like, you know, the different time traveling versions of themselves. But at the same time, a little bit concerned because they're also going to try to bring in their families, which means that it's going to have, like, you know, Bill, Ted, the princesses, and then their offspring, and it might just be, you know, family comedy across the board. When you start adding in kids like that, the movies can either do very well or do very poorly. And if it's not handled correctly, it could definitely be the latter and not the former. But look, we'll have to wait and see. So far, they're currently working on the movie. There's no release date, no production start date. The likelihood of us ever actually seeing this is becoming pretty minimal. But at the same time, I really do hope that it comes. And when it does, oh, I'll be there. I'll be there with my daughter. Enjoying the movie like I did back in the 80s when the first one came out. Alright guys, that wraps up this episode of 3 Buck Theater. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and discussing movies. I love to talk about this kind of stuff. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, and check back often for not only movie news and reviews, but also television show reviews, which I've been doing a lot more of and seem to be doing pretty well with the audience. The audience likes them, so I'm going to keep them up. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.